support our students. Our program today will follow this outline. First, we will hear from the Huntsman School valedictorian, Isaac Dixon. Isaac will be introduced by Professor Alex Romney, his chosen faculty escort. Following the valedictory address, our convocation address will be given by David Jenkins, the founder, chairman, and former CEO of Conservice, and the chair of our Huntsman School's National Advisory Board. I will then make some brief remarks, after which we will begin the recognition of our candidates. Professor Romney.
It is a joy to be able to introduce Isaac Dixon to you. Isaac Dixon will graduate with honors from Utah State University with bachelor's degrees in international business and economics and minors in entrepreneurship and leadership. During his undergrad, Isaac applied the honors values by exercising his passion for entrepreneurship, leadership, and research. He's worked on projects in the Dominican Republic, led humanitarian groups to Puerto Rico, and served in various leadership positions at the university. He was also on the team that won the 2021 Enactus Sustainable Development Goal Pitch in the category of decent work and economic growth. Isaac and his wife recently opened Shake That Cake, a unique dessert business that is located here in Cache Valley. Isaac eventually hopes to work in developing countries to help solve some of the world's challenging social issues through entrepreneurship and innovation. In short, Isaac has truly dared mighty things throughout his undergrad. Isaac?
Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. 4 years ago, I sat in the office of my academic advisor when she handed me a piece of paper. I gratefully took it, but something didn't quite sit right with me at the time. On it were listed each of the majors of the business school on one side, and then to the other side were the career paths that I could follow upon graduation. I thought, how could my life's work be written on this piece of paper? I mean, I hadn't even done it yet. I had gathered that we had some resources in the business school, but I didn't think time travel was quite within our budget. So I didn't realize it at the time, but the uneasiness that I was feeling that day were summarized well by this quote by Joseph Campbell when he said, if you can see your path laid out in front of you, step by step, then you know it's not your path. So back to the poem. The other day I was with my wife hiking in southern Utah when a thought occurred to me that I hadn't considered before. It was this: why is the path less traveled less? There has to be some reason, or else we know it would be the path more traveled, right? Thank you, Econ 1500, for that. So what is it? Is it super steep? Maybe it's rocky and technical. What if it's dangerous or even roped off and against the rules? Regardless, there is something somewhat alluring about following a path in life that differs slightly from the norm. Otherwise, I don't think this poem would have become so famous. My speech is about my journey and trying to find my path, and then trying to stay true to that path when it's become uncertain, difficult, and sometimes even scary. After that experience with my academic advisor, I remember in my heart I purposed that I wasn't going to choose any of the careers on that paper. I felt that it was better to say no to what I was pretty sure that I didn't want, even if I didn't yet know what the alternative would look like for me. This was frankly quite scary at times. I wondered if the path that I was following would lead me nowhere. Sometimes when I talked to people about my career plans, I couldn't help but feeling that they also thought that my path was going to lead me nowhere. At least it wasn't written on those papers. Nevertheless, I moved forward with faith in the principle that hard work always pays off, right? And I worked hard in my classes and built lasting friendships with many of my professors and started more than a few businesses, some of which were mildly successful, but the majority just made for good stories. One of my favorites was when my roommates and I decided that we were going to open a ski tuning business. We were going to innovate by picking up the skis, tuning them, and then dropping them back off. That's how we thought we were going to kind of innovate against the market. So we went out in the dead of Logan winter for 4 hours and placed 800 flyers on windshields all around Logan, all around campus, really. and then came home and prepared for the calls to start rolling in. So one person called, and it was someone from the university asking us not to put flyers on campus again. And so if that person's here, I don't know if they are, but you can consider this a confession. I guess that was me. When it came time to choose an internship, none of the companies really called my attention, so instead I traveled to the Dominican Republic and there taught entrepreneurship to people who are living in poverty there. I justified this decision by saying that it's better to build a life than to build a resume. Although I wasn't sure whether I would be staying in academia long term, I dabbled with research. This exposed me to the joys of working through the IRB process. But more importantly, it allowed me to study things that particularly interested me. I was able to learn about financial inclusion in developing countries and how suffering can sometimes make us into better leaders. So in each of these choices, I tried to make my decisions based on purpose and principle, rather than fear or a desire to fit in. So where has this led me, you might be wondering? Am I confidently strolling along my own personal path toward success and happiness? The truth is, my path has been difficult. I have had my moments of struggle and doubt, and have definitely felt lost at times. Just a month ago, I remember on my knees praying for guidance on how I could provide for my new family with a baby on the way. But I've learned to get up and move forward with at least that next step along my path. I have to admit that I found it slightly ironic as I was preparing to be in front of all of you speaking at graduation that I didn't know exactly what came next for me. Well, I was pretty confident then, and still am, that my parents will probably take me out to lunch, but at least I know that. So my point is, in all of this, is to say that in life, we're all going to face crossroads. The well-trod path is probably safer, probably more secure, and I imagine it lines up with the voices of what other people are telling us that we should do. But there's almost always another path. I think it's probably steep, it's definitely rocky, and there might be some risk involved. It may even be roped off against the rules of the way we traditionally think of doing things. But I have a gut feeling that at the end, that is the path that truly will lead us to where we want to go. So my invitation to all of us is, as we move forward into this crazy world, that we might choose not to follow a career that's written on a piece of paper, but rather that path that's already written in our hearts. As we do this, I believe that when we look back at the end of our lives, we will find that that is what made all the difference. Thank you. Go Aggies.